super awesome. Super awesome. Mackenzie has just been promoted to a regional director. So congratulations. Her best week in the career is 56,000. She finished with 30,000 last week, so she's getting the jacket and the shoes. So that's awesome. She has finished in the top three or the top 10 in the past 3 years. Okay. Her team is on target to do $2 million this year. So that's awesome. Lifetime premium over 1.7 million. That's amazing. And so, just to share a little bit of things that Dylan had to say, because I couldn't help but ask, because the thing is when I hear Dylan talk on the podcast about Mackenzie, he adores her. He adores you to the core. So he said, there are people who show up, and then there are people who absolutely rise. He said, Kenzie rises every single time. She's the definition of grit and determination and heart. She's relentless in pursuit of her goals, yet deeply, deeply empathetic with people. Kenzie's the kind of leader who will outwork anyone in the room, but she still pauses to care about the person next to her. She's closing in on she's closing in on $2 million. Force of nature, and just a light to show people the way. And best of all, she's just getting started. Mackenzie, I do want to have you tell us a little bit about how you came to the career, and then dive in. But Mackenzie knows hard. And I think that's something that I admire out of anyone, but I admire mostly out of women when they've endured hard, because it just shows how powerful they are. So I'm going to turn it over to you, dear.
Thank you, Brandy. Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here with you guys. Yeah, I mean, where I came from, I was in the service industry for about a decade and I lost my job through COVID. So I was unemployed when I came here, actually. And if anyone told me I was going to be in the service industry, I would probably pay you over $1 million. So I had no idea that this is the path that I was going to take. But obviously, Dylan Buck, my brother, as Brandy stated, was seeing a lot of success here and I needed a job. So I came here, my story is not normal. Someone that's like, I came for the opportunity and I came because I was unemployed. So now, 5.5 years later, it's completely changed my life, whether that be from a professional standpoint, but from a major personal standpoint. And that's something I get to talk about today with you guys. I've shared what I'm going to talk to you guys about today on the Vision Team call. I've shared it with Transparent. I also just did a part semi-similar to it at our agency days. And so hopefully it can hit some chords with you guys. But the thing I love about this topic, I get to talk about like leadership development, next level thinking. The way that I kind of presented it at agency days is how to be a triple threat. The best thing about this is that it can it can have everything to do with your career. It can also have nothing to do with your career because you can apply it to all aspects of life, right? So when I think about leadership development personally, I think about doing hard things, right? And just like Brandy said, right, I've been through some things, right? So, I used to have a completely different perspective of this career. Like I complained every single day. I had so much negativity, right? And I just complained so much and I had so much frustration. But that's the thing is like, I didn't want it to change. I didn't want to change or I would have changed it. Right. And I'm coming from a very, very dark place. Right. Last year, I was suicidal. And that could be a very, very heavy thing to hear. But it's an important thing to hear because I had to take responsibility for the role that I was playing in my own suffering. And I had to stop playing the victim in my own life, right? And I will say one of the last books that I finished was a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. It's all about self-image. I encourage reading it. It's a tremendous book, but it is so important to understand the difference between self-confidence and self-image because we don't get what we ask for. We get what we believe. And what we believe about ourselves, it shows up in our energy, right? It's how we walk into a room. It's how we communicate through body language. Like saying, I don't deserve to be here. And, it's whether we sit up straight or hide out in the back of a meeting. And without knowing it, you know, at times I've stunted my growth. And my own energy has been saying, like, I'm cool with the bare minimum, right? Don't give me more. And it's because I was scared to be amazing. And I was doubtful that I even was. But I've embraced experiences I never thought I would have. And I've risen to some enormous moments. But as I keep relearning and unlearning what people have taught me that aren't true, I've learned that there is still so much more I can do and other ways for me to grow, right? And it's okay to own a desire for more. It's okay to want more, right? And I've learned that our self-identity drives default actions. So I've stopped calling myself, sick, lazy, unworthy, right? Unlovable, incapable, right? And I've been intentional about changing the way that I speak. Because did you know that you are more likely to lay on the couch if you call yourself lazy? Because that's what a lazy person would do, right? Did you know if you describe yourself as a successful business owner, you are more likely to get into the field and follow through on your words because that's what a successful business owner would do, right? So we get to be intentional about changing the way that we speak because, us leaders, we talk about self-talk. It's not just to, you know, say it for fun. It literally rewires your brain, right? So we get to be intentional about the way that we speak about ourselves. It is 100% on purpose because our brain doesn't know the difference of what's real and what's not. It just listens to what you tell it, right? So we right? So we get to be completely self-aware, right? I've become so self-aware. And there's been times in the past where I've been addicted to my sadness, and a familiar hell sounded way better than an unfamiliar heaven. And being aware of the way that I'm feeling and the things that progress me forward and hold me back, right? I've been tremendously aware of the things that make me feel anxious, right? The things that make me feel happy and the things that make me feel sad, right? And I've been extremely intentional with progressing on a path that propels me to happiness. And what I've realized is that when I'm working hard on myself in the field or in life, I feel at peace. And as we own that bleeds into all things in life, right? And I've learned that ambition or potential without action, that's anxiety. So just understanding myself more has helped me level up my thinkings, right? For myself, I don't want to just feel things. I want to understand why I'm feeling those things, right? So if I'm feeling unworthy, what is the root cause of that? Where is it coming from, right? If I have imposter syndrome, I've dealt with imposter syndrome in this career many times. Why do I feel that way, right? And evolving, it takes eliminating, whether that be people in your life, whether that be bad food, right? Last month, I did 100 days sober, right? And that helped me completely have clarity in my life for me to understand where I was going, right? Evolving takes eliminating, right? It helped me trust myself more. It has brought me more confidence into my life, right? You just don't really understand the things that are subconscious, of the things that you do that affect your confidence, that affect your life and your growth, right? And so when we're clear-minded, we get to know ourselves and we get to know the triggers, the whys behind the whats. And to be completely forward with you guys and transparent, I know that I have a trauma response of hyper-independence because I've been let down and hurt by so many people. It's to protect myself from people letting me down again and hurting me. It's the only way I have control over, it's the only way I feel like I have control over my life, my emotions, and my feelings, right? I know that I have unresolved trauma and resentment towards my father, right? I have a steel trap door around my heart to show him that I can be my own provider and my own protector that he was not able to provide for me. I now know that that's why I attract weak men, all from eliminating, I know that I push people away when they get too close. I know that I'm afraid of my own potential, so I self-sabotage. It absolutely terrifies me. But you know what really scares me is when everything's going completely right, right? Because maybe there's a little part about me or a little bit about me that thinks that I still don't deserve it, right? And I know that my body's addicted to cortisol because of what happens physically to my body when I try to relax. All these realizations came from eliminating. And being aware is the first step. And then we get to level up in that area of our lives by working on it, right? Which elevates our business, which elevates all things, right? Because the goal is to get better at life, not just this business. And the things that we're choosing not to eliminate are the distractions to avoid the work to elevate ourselves, right? And another thing that's helped me level up is just deciding what I want. Right? I was in this career being one foot in and one foot out for such a long time. But once I decided I was going to make things happen, you guys, things just happened. Right? I had a conversation with my brother and I was like, hey, this isn't working for me. Right? So I'm going to go all in for 3 months. And if I still feel the way that I do right now, I'm gone. And here we are. Right? So make a decision that you're going to make things happen and make them happen. Right? So I also know that, if we're trying to have our team evolve, it is our job to evolve ourselves. So we need to do the things to let ourselves evolve. And they're not supposed to be easy things. They're supposed to be uncomfortable things, uncomfortable conversations, right? I've had to have conversations with people that I love dearly and say, you know what? I love you, but I have to love you from afar because you don't support the life that I'm trying to create for myself. Right? I love you, but your actions don't support my higher self, right? And once you start eliminating things from your life just becomes so much more clear. Like asking yourself, why am I even friends with this person? Right? Or just understanding a difference in perspective. And that's really, really healthy to have. And I've realized that it's okay to outgrow people and outgrow hobbies because you aren't that person anymore. Right? So we get to take extreme ownership, ownership in our team struggles, ownership in people leaving, ownership in my personal relationships, right? Ownership in my happiness, literally everything in life, right? And so I've been intentional about eliminating external validation, right? I said this on the vision team call, but after every single call I spoke on before, I would always call Dylan afterwards and just ask him for validation. Like, how was it? Did I do okay? And now my self-talk after every call is like, who cares what people think? Right? I did my best. Right? I know I'm moving mountains now. Right? But that's coming from action. Right? I'm not sitting at home not doing anything anymore. Right? And that's where the confidence comes from. Because I'm actually doing something about it. Right? And self-acceptance is the only thing that matters. Right? And you know why I've realized in the past why I'm so tired is because I give so much energy to other people. Like I used to care so much what other people thought about me. Right? Their opinions about me, what they say about us, right? Worrying about what they think. It's exhausting. Right? And climbing the career track, it's also helped me compartmentalize my thoughts. Right? I had a conversation with one of my business partners, Jacob Meyer, and he just asked me, how do you get through, or how do you handle getting through a tough quarter with your team? And I just responded, you know what? I'm grateful for all of the things that I have to juggle when climbing the career track because it's a blessing. Like I don't have the time to think about the things that don't matter in this career or outside of the career. Right? And the perspective shift that we've had is like, how am I going to handle all this responsibility to I have the capacity to care and think about what matters inside and outside of this career and nothing else. Right? Everything else is vapor in my eyes. Because if I give energy to the things that don't, I will lose it. So just adjusting that perspective is very, very healthy to have because success does not come if it's not coming from peace or leading to it. And that's my philosophy. So adjusting my perspective on almost everything, you guys, the power of perspective is insane, right? Instead of I am nervous, I'm excited to grow, right? Instead of I have to wait, I get time to prepare, right? Not I'm behind, I'm on my own timeline, right? 5.5 years in, I'm now a regional director, but I came into the business with, Jared Nelson, Amberly Kessler, Dylan Buck. They all became regional directors within their first 2 years of the business. That can be daunting. I also had so much more to work through than they did. I'm on my own timeline and it's perfect. I wouldn't change a thing, right? Instead of I have to start over, I get to start wiser. I don't fit in. Those are not my people, right? And I've failed. It's just not the right time. We get to trust our process and trust that we are exactly where we're supposed to be, right? And I've worked a lot on changing the perspective of what I think about myself. I can't even tell you how much I've held on to from the past. And I'm learning to embrace all parts of me, right? Embrace the softness, lean into the parts of me that cry for help, right? And so surrender to whatever that version of me needs. But through life experiences, I've learned that as long as I am healthy, or as long as we are healthy, we think that we have thousands of problems. The moment that we get sick, we have one. So my number one priority is to stay healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And to do so, I need to push myself in the gym, eating healthy, in my career, with meditation, with myself, in my relationships, right? It all elevates my vibration. It is my main focus right now to develop myself so I can help develop other human beings as well, right? Because I want to be free from all those things, right? And I've reached a lot of peace and I've gained a lot of power understanding that I am in control. I'm in control of my success. I'm in control of my emotions. I'm in control of my thoughts, right? It's just a matter of learning how to be better at it. And it's a powerful thing to know that the mind is the only thing holding us back, right? And the thing is that when I speak on a call, it will not be just another call. It will hold value, right? It will hold purpose. And people say that they don't remember what you said, they remember how they made you feel. And I promise I will be someone that makes you feel something, right? But everyone is human, and I will be someone that shows that as well, right? And I'm here to evolve, but like I'm here to show that I have emotions, right? And it's how we show up after our life gets rocked, right? I make mistakes. I have a ton of emotions, but I will continue to get better every single day. And to be at peace, like I said, I need to push myself and not waste my potential, right? And I'm beginning to scratch that surface, and I'll help others scratch their surface, but I I will help others understand their true value of self, right? And the goal is to continue to raise my vibration to attract other high vibrations, right? And I will continue to do that, but I've learned I need to stop forcing myself to be wealthy and successful. We need to stop forcing ourselves to be wealthy and successful. The language of the universe is energy. And I know that I need to be in alignment, right? Instead of wanting and having strong desires to be successful, it's just about being in alignment with it, right? So we get to get our mind aligned with our desired outcomes, right? And if I'm sitting here desiring and wanting, that means I'm not in alignment. That's scarcity. I'll never want something that I already have. And if I want and desire something, I'm acting as if I don't already have it, right? We get to use our imagination. We get to imagine whatever we are trying to create. If I already had it, how would I be behaving? How would I act? How would I feel? What would I do and apply it? Once you apply it, you're moving in the same frequency as if you already have it. You won't need it anymore. You definitely won't chase it. I'm already it. I'm already her, right? And the physical universe will conspire to see that it corresponds to your vibration. And I've learned to lean heavily into my intuition, right? Your intuition will never make a decision based off of fear, shame, or guilt. Only your head will do that, right? So next time when you're making a decision, ask yourself, am I making this decision based off fear? Am I making this decision at a lower vibration? Intuition will always come first, right? So we get to understand that we're the ones creating our reality, right? So every morning when we wake up, we should be intentional about visualizing and feeling exactly what we want in life, feeling as if it's already happened, right? And if we can do that, the right circumstances, the right people, the right opportunities will show up to get you the vision that you have for your life. And yes, like we are in the universe, right? But it really is you in verse. And whatever you think about life, whatever you think about yourself, whatever we think about ourselves, it is what we are calling into our reality, right? And we got to love every single version of ourselves, right? Every version of ourselves already exists, but we just have to be it before we see it. And many people try and make the mistake of trying to see it before they be it, before they are it, right? So we got to love every single version of ourselves because there are things that the 25-year-old, the 18-year-old Mackenzie didn't know that the 33-year-old Mackenzie knows now, right? And I always think like, man, I am so grateful for the toughest times of my life so I can be who I am today, right? And I'm so grateful for the toughest struggles I've been through, right? They're the best things that have ever happened to me. And thank goodness I've channeled them to empower me instead of break me, right? But through my own struggles, right, I get to help people through their struggles. And the thing is that sometimes we forget our path. And then we meet someone or someone reminds us of our path. And to me, like that is next level thinking, right? That is leadership development. That's how you become a triple threat, is that when we can be that person to remind people who they are. Before the world taught them to believe that you have to make yourself feel smaller to make others feel more comfortable, right? To remind people who they are before trauma changed them into the less confident, hard exterior, traumatized version of them, right? And I have a tattoo on me. It just says, I am you. I also believe that you are me. And we are so much more alike than we are different, right? And in this world, what's needed is radical compassion. In this business, you want to write big numbers, have compassion for the person across from you. Listen to what they're saying, right? We have tremendously deep conversations with people that we just met, right? So we get to have compassion for those people, right? Because at the end of the day, everything's a choice. Our legacy comes from choices, right? So my name, I did this on the vision team calls. I'd introduce myself as I close, but my name is Mackenzie Buck, right? I'm emotional. I'm strong. I'm stubborn. I'm gritty. I'm alpha. I'm guarded. I'm learning to become soft, right? I have a heart of gold. I've struggled with PTSD. I've believed I'm unlovable in the past. I've struggled with depression, anxiety, fear of abandonment, fear of being exactly who I am. And with all that comes with me, I'm successful because I choose to be. I'm a leader because I choose to be, right? I'm happy today because I choose to be. Everything is a choice. And we get to choose to get better, right? Next level thinking is a choice. And at the end of the day, I've learned to have so much trust in what's meant for me that nothing is forced, right? I have a long way to go, as we all do, but I've worked through so much in this career, and it's because of making a choice, intention, and trust. And the best part about all this is that when we do the inner work, we don't settle anymore, right? We get to have confidence because we're acting in life. And so we get to continue to grow and believe and trust ourselves, and we get to continue to act and show up. Personally, I've actively rewired my brain by healing, stretching myself, and doing the hard right over the easy wrong. And that's the beauty of this business, is it forces you to stretch yourself. And it's not meant to be easy. And every day I think about, like, what if I had an easy career where I could just clock in and clock out every day, and I wouldn't be able to have the growth and emotional intelligence and work stamina that I do now? How blessed are we that we get to have a career that challenges us to be better, right? And now we get to take advantage of it, right? And I've learned that pain is power. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. So lean into the struggle and have so much trust in your process that you trust that everything is happening for you, right? It's so peaceful when you realize and understand that every single thing is happening exactly as it should. And I'm talking everything, even the things that you think are negative. So with that said, Brandy, I will turn it back over to you.
Oh, wow. Oh, guys, comments, questions. It's 8:29. I mean, I really do admire you as a female. I know you're like, shut up, that doesn't matter, but you know, pain is power, guys. This career, and Spencer just gave us a heart, but it's not meant to be easy. This is meant to be hard, but this is turning us into better women, better men, better moms, better dads. And so, guys, comments, questions, I'm sorry.
I
I've
just
got
want
a question. Go ahead, Spencer.
I just want to chime in. I'm going through pretty much exactly the same thing right now. This is my 9th week, and I just want to say thank you for coming on and speaking today, because that really helped a lot and made me feel like I'm not alone and feeling like that. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Never alone.
Nope.
I've got a question. Mackenzie, you talked about the positive self-talk, and that's definitely something that I've struggled with. I mean, I'll be the one to say it here. I spent 2 days of the train more last week sitting at home just because I didn't feel like I could do it or I was worth it, and I just stayed at home. What are your tips for that better self-talk to really keep yourself motivated and keep yourself going?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, it's probably gonna feel a little bit forced. But probably the last thing you want to hear, and the only thing I'm gonna say is you have to force yourself to actually do it. And when you're not in the field and you know that you should be in the field, that's where lack of confidence comes from, because you're not actually doing what you should be doing, right? And so the more that you do that, the more you won't believe the things that you're saying. So I would encourage and force yourself to do the things that you know you should be doing, because the best version of you wouldn't be sitting on the couch. And then positive self-talk is going to be just secondhand and natural, because the things that you're saying you're actually going to believe. But if you're sitting on the couch, you're not going to believe the things that you're saying. So I would just force yourself to do things. And I always ask myself, like, what would the best version of me do in this situation?
Mm.
Or I always ask, like, after this week, right? I might not want to do it right now, but what's going to make me feel the best at the end of the week? And 99% of the time, I don't want to get in the field. I would be, I would even have confidence to say 100% of the time, I don't want to get in the field. But I do it because at the end of the week, I'm going to feel so much better about myself if I actually do it. So ask yourself the hard questions, and um, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing the personal side of things too, because that's something I really deal with. I have a situation with my mother that is probably similar to that of your father, but totally different at the same time. With that said, how do you come to a point where you're okay with letting that person, loving them from afar? Because that's a very difficult thing I do. you know, and letting people go. How did you come to that decision that that was the best decision for you?
I think you already know. I think you already know that decision. And so I think for you, it's more of a fear of maybe having guilt or shame on your side. But like I talked about, that intuition, the answer that's already in your mind before you even thought about that is the right answer. Because now it's your head talking, right? The intuition is the one that came to you right off the bat of like, this person's not for me right now. But it came to you immediately. And so you already know the answer to that. I don't need to answer it for you. But I think you're just scared to have that conversation because you have guilt of what they'll think. But you got to understand that, I mean, yes, you need to be humble in this business, but as a business owner, you can't be humble. You got to be a shark, right? You got to be humble as a human being. You got to be a shark as a business owner,
Oh, wow.
right? So for that, you got to make sure you're being humble for the people around you. But at the same time, if you're trying to change your life, you got to let them know, whoever you're talking about. I don't know if it's your mom or whoever. You got to let them know that I'm making big changes in my life and you're not a part of it right now. And if you want to be, you got to make changes too.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Kenzie, I just wanted to say thank you. I always appreciate your heart and just where you come from with any conversation ever, whether it's on a call or just one-on-one. I just appreciate you. So thank you so much for your time this morning and wisdom.
Appreciate you too, Josiah.
Okay, guys, so it's 8:34. The last thing I'm going to say is I forgot to congratulate Mackenzie on becoming an aunt. To Miss Blake, she is going to grow up with an aunt that loves her and is going to be there to help her with every step in her life. That's what I tell Kyle all the time. I'm like, I got this child. I'm going to be able to help you with all these hard things when they happen. So she's very fortunate to have an awesome auntie like you. So, guys, let's get out there. Let's have an awesome day. Let's be a blessing. You never know. And radical compassion. Like Mackenzie said, guys, we have got to listen to the person in front of us because they are sharing the most difficult stories with us. And our job is to help them protect their family if something bad happens. So y'all be safe out there.